Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Alliance Live Show number 62. I'm super excited to be here, and I'm super excited to be joined by my co-host and colleague and super bestest buddy, good old Maurice. How you doing today, bud?
Good, man. How you doing?
Good. So we had a live show last week, and it was kind of cut short because of technical difficulties. I had a power outage last week, so I had to cut it down, and basically we never got a chance to make it up during the week. So this will be the de facto live show number 62. So we've got a whole new show. We've got a whole bunch of new topics to discuss because, yes, mods 2.0 is upon us. So we're going to take a look at that in depth here and kind of discuss the recent update. And then also we have, still Aurra Sing and Houndstooth to take a look at. When the Mods 2.0 update came out, Maurice, were you surprised, or did you expect this to come a little bit later, or, what were your thoughts about it?
Well, I was ready for it. I thought we were gonna get it weeks ago. To be honest, I thought we'd get it 2 weeks ago, but we got it when we got it, and it's good. I'm liking it. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Wasting a lot of time with it, just like fine tuning all my mods and like just looking at stuff, but it's a good one.
Well, what's cool about it is that it kind of, it's kind of a new. Yes, it's a new grind, and there's a whole bunch of new things that we have to attain now, which is, what we expected. Of course, we expected that there was going to be a whole bunch of new things that we're going to have to go after here, but. Yeah, the thing is that it's, for some people, kind of overwhelming, okay? And that's kind of what I wanted to discuss here a little bit today, is that, it's going to come at your own pace, okay? And that's really one of the main things that you have to understand, is that for everybody, it's going to be a little bit different. Yes, some people have, a little bit of money to make an investment and get a little bit of a boost to start things off. But ultimately, it's going to be, I think, long term, a lot better for the game, because it just adds another level or another layer of customization to the characters, and that's really what sets aside this game from a lot of its counterparts. Is that you have the ability to kind of customize each one of these characters, and you're not just going basically based on their base speed. Every, Grand Moff Tarkin in this game, every Darth Treya, every Vader in this game is a little bit different because of mods, and that's kind of what makes your roster or your team unique. And I think it kind of adds some value there.
Well, yeah, just they're making their initial reactions based on their bad luck rolling their first few mods, or just it is overwhelming, and you can buy two of those things, the red power modulators. You can buy two of those a week with crystals. That's it. So even the people that are willing to spend the money to get these mods up, you're looking at 2, maybe 3 a week from the guild store too. Like, it's going to take a long time to do this. Like, it's the patch comes out, everybody wants to upgrade everything. But it's no different than the other grinding aspects of this game. It's an additional one, but I think it's a good one. It really allows you to customize your characters and find like the perfect mods for every situation. You can build like your fastest set. You can focus on specific mods for a certain character. So it doesn't matter which way you want to go. There's a lot of options, and I like it. I'm having fun with it.
Yeah. All right, so what I want to do here is I want to kind of dive in, and we're going to go ahead and take a look, and we're going to go through the tutorial here in game. I didn't open it up yet on my test account, so I have tons of building materials, so we can kind of try to slice some mods here and see what kind of upgrades we get, and hopefully get a little bit more of an understanding as to how this works for those of you that haven't been able to really test this out yet. Hey, what's going on, Jordan? DSP, I agree. I think that obviously there is some there's a need to make money behind this. I mean, of course, they made this to make money. It's the game is to make money. I mean, obviously, it's a business, but I think that's ultimately a lot of the things that we've been asking for a long time, like the ability to track your mods in game, the customization, the ability to get 6-dot mods. I mean, a lot of the stuff that we've been asking for and begging for them to do also came with that. So it's not like they just added. Of course, they're going to have to, if they spend a large amount of time like that on any kind of update, they're going to have to add some element for it to be financially profitable. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't make sense to allocate all those people's time to customizing mods and making mods better and putting all this time into adding such a large feature. I mean, this is a huge update. And it doesn't make sense to add such a huge update unless there's going to be some sort of financial return for that. So, of course, they have to, be able to pitch, the higher-ups at Electronic Arts that, not only is it going to be better for the player base because they're going to enjoy it more, but also that it can bring in some sort of revenue. And, I mean, of course, there's that element to it as well. But from my discussions with Maurice, I see that a lot of the things that you're going to have to do are going to have to be farmable anyway. So even if you get a little bit of a head start because you spent some money in the beginning, long term you're still going to have to farm a lot of those pieces, and you're going to still be on a grind just like everybody else. So I think maybe at the offset there may be a little bit of an ability to jump ahead, but over time, the free-to-play players and the farmers will catch up. But, okay, so basically there's an option for recommended mod sets, and I think that's kind of cool. You can toggle between like a basic and advanced view, and you can also auto-assign mods as well. And I'm sure all you guys were, walked through this, so I don't want to go step by step here, but so basically we can go into advanced and we can kind of take a look at all the different mods that we have on people. You tap on a mod like this one to view its stats. View the mod stats on the right, okay.
I mean, chances are if you're watching a YouTube stream about this game, you're not going to use the basic mod loadout, right? But like a new player coming into this game, it's much more overwhelming than probably the vast majority of us that are here right now talking about the game. When we first started, it's so much more complex and deep, and just so much more stuff going on. This is necessary, I think, to kind of help newer players once they reach that level and they start farming their mods. I think this will be helpful to them, because when we started, mods just like dumped them on us, right? Gave us a little brief tutorial. We pretty much had to figure everything out, and this kind of takes a lot of the guesswork out, which is good.
Well, let me know if you can hear me better now. I mean, as far as that goes, I'm sometimes a little bit of a distance away from the mic. I need to get one of these mics that kind of hangs out over here, right in my face, so you guys can hear me better. I will get one of those. So, I just right now I have the mic on the table here in front of me, so I'm a little bit further away than I'd like to be. But okay, we're gonna go ahead and take a look here at this mod. So this rolled speed 3 times already. So the likelihood of that happening again is probably difficult, but let's go ahead and slice this mod here. So we're going to hope that let's see, once slice increase mods tier, once mod secondary stats roll will increase. Each secondary stat has a max of 5 rolls. When you slice and increase mod rarity, the mod will reset to tier E and increase all of its stats. Okay, so right now we're taking a D mod and we're upgrading it to a C mod. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what rolls here. Okay, so we got an increase in defense, which is not really exciting. We're going to go ahead and...
Not on an offense. Not on an offense primary, no.
No. We're going to go ahead and try to slice it again here, and hopefully we roll speed on this one. And we do. And we get an increase of 3 speed on that mod. And now I'm going to upgrade it again, and we're going to now upgrade it to a tier A mod. And see if we roll speed again. And we don't. We roll defense again on this one. Now we're going to upgrade it one more time. We're going to slice it. And this adds, some other components here that we need to get it to become a 6-dot mod. And that'll be the first 6-dot mod that I have on the account here. So let's go ahead and take a look
You really picked the best one you had, huh?
at what rolls here. I mean, well, you know, it looks like we have...
Watch that defense. Watch the defense just skyrocket on that mod.
It's going to get a 30 defense, right? Yeah, I mean, let's hope we get a fourth roll on speed. Let's cross our fingers here. And we do. We actually get a roll on, like, everything a little bit. And offense increases to 8.5%. So this mod is now actually a pretty good mod. We started off at, what, like, was it 10 speed? And so we got 4 speed increase. We got 3.5% increase, or no, 3% increase in offense. And defense actually went to 30, like we said.
Yeah.
So it went from 18 to 30. So not bad. I mean, again, was that did that go from being a horrible mod to a god mod? No. But the 6E speed arrows are fantastic. So let's go ahead and slice this until it becomes 6-dot. I have enough building materials here to add a lot of stuff, so we can play around with this a little bit and see what rolls. But yes, getting this to 6 dots here will increase the speed to 32, which is fantastic, because that's adding an additional 2 speed to the arrow mod there. Okay, so now we have 2 6-dot mods on Treya. Here I have an 11 speed. It rolled 3 times speed. So let's see what happens with this one. Maybe we get lucky and we get a 4th roll of speed. I doubt it. But we'll go ahead and see what happens. Okay, so we got an increase in potency. And now
that's a good arrow, man. You got 10% potency on that arrow. That's pretty good.
Not bad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And now we're going to go ahead and increase this. And we got an increase 1 in speed. And then again 8.5 in offense. So my Treya is actually going to be looking pretty beast. Let's try this too, just to go ahead and finish her up. Okay, we got 6 defense increase there with that. Now we're going to go with the 6-dot. And we got 1 more speed, bringing it to 13 speed total, and increasing the defensive mod entirely to 20% defense. So that's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome overall. So, I mean, these other 2 mods here can't be upgraded because they're only 4-dot. So, let's go to a different character and try something similar. Let's go to, for example, my Grandmaster Yoda here.
If you guys got questions, just drop them in the chat. I'll pick them up here and we'll answer them towards the end of the show.
So, let's see. We have Yoda here. He rolled 4 times speed here to get 16 speed. Let's see if we roll this. Tenacity went up. And then we got 1 speed. So he went to 8.5% offense. Not bad. Not bad. But, okay, this rolled 20 speed with 4 increases. There's a chance we can get a 5th. Let's see what happens here. No, we didn't, but we got 1 more speed, so that's a 21 speed mod, which is not bad. Now that it's 6-dot, this can also be increased 1 more time. So let's see what happens here. We got 1 speed there. We didn't get another roll on that one. It'd be nice if we get a roll on this one here. Let's see what happens. It seems like the chances of speed rolling up is pretty low.
Well, it's 25%.
Yeah.
You're gonna get 1 speed on every 6E upgrade, even if the mod's like 20+ speed, you still only get the 1.
And that's what happened That's what happened right there. We just got a 4th increase on this mod for speed, which brought it to 18 speed secondary. So that's cool. Now with the 6-dot, I mean, I guess we call it like crowning it with a 6-dot mod. It's going to get 1 more speed. I'll make it 19. So that's not bad. I mean, so that's now went from a 14 speed mod to a 19 speed mod with that slice.
Well, you'll notice these are 6E, right? So in the future, I mean, you would have to think that they'll release maybe a new component and they'll take it to 6D. And you'll have a chance to roll your stats again, and then a 6C, and then B, and then A, and then you'll be able to roll them into 7-dot. Like over time, at least it appears that you will be able to even increase them even further in the future, which is cool, exciting. and scary, but I think it allows them to kind of balance the game and maybe do a power creep. When it's I think it gives them some flexibility on progressing the game, because if they would just want to drop 6 dot mods as is and we could level them all up, that would be a nightmare. I think this way of doing it is a nice. It kind of slowly gets everybody up there. Yeah, I like this update a lot.
Yeah, I would say that normally, watching me upgrade mods is probably not going to be the most exciting thing that we can do on the live show, but this happens to be, I think, something interesting to kind of check out and just kind of see what the rolls are like, and see how likely it is to roll. I mean, I think in some cases, some people really haven't gotten the chance. I mean, I know on like my main account, like I haven't gotten a chance to increase a mod to 6 dot yet or anything. So I'm really kind of getting my first experience with all this right now with you guys. So I just want to I'm kind of doing this to also learn a little bit about it myself. But let's go ahead and increase this mod here for Commander Luke Skywalker and see if we can get another roll on speed.
Well, this is good though. You have rolled in the last 3 minutes more than any player. Even if a player bought everything available, you've upgraded more than any player in the game has. So it's nice to see a little larger sample size. I mean, some people have 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, 6. I guess 6 is probably the most you could have at this point. You buy them, you have to farm them. 2 from the shipments. You could have a handful of them, but you've done, I mean, what, 15 of them now?
Yeah, 42% crit damage is the increase when you bring it to 6 dot. That's pretty sick. Yeah, so we've done
crit. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, so yeah, like you said, we've done quite a few. So it's a good sampling to kind of get a look at what how it works.
Yeah, crit damage and speed didn't really get much of a boost, but all the other stats, we saw defense go way up. We saw, you had a speed arrow with 10% potency, which is unheard of. I mean, that's incredible. The defense and the health go up pretty considerably. Tenacity as well. Offense, not too much there. You see the offense goes up to 8.5 from 5.8, but health, I think it goes up from 5.8 to about 16. I think it goes up to 16% on the primary. So that's a huge increase. Protection, health is kind of catching up with protection. I don't really see myself using much protection at all moving forward. There are characters that have like stacking protection or health protection regeneration. Those characters, yes, but as a rule, I think I'm going health on just about everybody.
All right, so let's take a look here. Just kind of curious what the assigned loadout would be for her. Oh no, that's not what I'm looking at here.
Yeah, go to. Are you trying to see what the computer recommends for her?
Yeah.
I think you can just go to manage, and then there's hit advanced at the top there. It'll turn it to it'll turn it to the basic one.
So the recommended mod sets are offense and potency.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and try to increase some of these here. So this one, we'll slice. It already rolled speed 4 times, so it's at 17 speed now. Let's see what happens here when we bring it to a tier A mod. So we got defense. Obviously, bringing it to E, we're going to get that 1 speed increase to bring it to a 6 dot mod. Okay, and let's try this one here. This has 14 speed. It's rolled 3 times. And we'll go ahead and try to slice that to an A mod and see what happens. We got health. And again, 1 speed. So when it goes to 6 dot, you're not getting another roll. You're just getting that whatever stat increase it goes to from being a 5 dot mod to a 6 dot mod. So there's not a chance for like another additional roll there, between 5 and 6 dot. That make any sense?
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. I was pacing questions. There's not a slot for what now?
When you're making an increase from 5 dot to 6 dot, you're not getting another roll, right? You're just
everything's just going up.
It's just going up. That whatever the incremental difference would be between a 5 dot and a 6 dot mod. So it's always going to be the same when you're going from 5 to 6 dot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, let's go with Darth Scion here, and we'll upgrade some of these. Let's see, we've got 16 speed here. Let's see what happens. Health. Nothing special there. It seems like some of these mods are like just kind of destined to stay the same speed. Let's see. Every now and then you get lucky. Okay, so 1 speed increase there because of the increase to 6 dot. We know with these golds, we're only going to be upgrading them to. We're only going to be.
Oh, you know what we should have done? You should probably go. You know what you should do? You should go take a pilot, right? Open up his ship, and let's have a look at it, and then put all 6 dot mods on him and see how the ship is afterwards.
Okay.
Just any pilot, you know, big.
Let's look at Bosk. Okay.
Bosk is fine. So yeah, Bosk is perfect.
We have the Hound's Tooth here.
Oh, nice segue. There you go. Look at that.
Yeah, and we'll take a look at the Hound's Tooth. So now the total power is 62,337. So I guess we'll take a look at what happens when we upgrade his mods, right?
Yeah, have a look at his stats. Did you look at his stats?
His stats are 24,457. Are you talking about like his total power or his statistics?
Like, hit the stats button to see how fast and like his ship is and health protection. Then we'll put the 6 dot mods on.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So right now the strength. Let's see here. So the speed is 141. Potency is 41%. Tenacity 56%. 77,000 protection. 93,000 health. Do you have a pen and pad to write some of this stuff down?
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. So
read it out.
93,435 health.
93, 4, 5. Okay, that's close enough. Health.
77,000 protection.
All right.
141 speed.
All right.
And 41% potency, 56% tenacity. Okay, and then let's increase his mods and see what happens. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is we're going to slice this one. Bring that to 6 dot. Now let's slice this one, which already had 4 rolls. Maybe we'll get a 5th. It's at 17 speed right now. Nope. We got potency. Okay, 6 dot.
That's a nice little protection, or that's a nice little speed arrow for Bosk there.
Yeah.
Protection, tenacity, health, 41 defense. That's pretty nice. That's a good one.
Okay, so now we're gonna make that a 6 dot. We'll make this a 6 dot. 21 speed for that mod. Not bad. We'll make this a 6 dot. 20 speed on that mod. Okay, and then we have this one, which is a 4 dot, which is not too exciting. I mean, he's got 17 speed on that mod, even though it's a 4 dot, so we might as well just roll with that. I'll upgrade this one.
I would just put any, just put a 6 dot on him. So that way we can see the stats and fully maxed out mods.
Okay.
I like how you're being picky.
I'll just put that on for now. I mean, I think his stats decrease a little bit with that, but We'll just confirm that. Okay. All right. So let's now let's go back to the ship. Let's see what we're looking at here. So his stats increased a little bit. The ship stats. Let's take a look. So now the speed is 144.
Okay.
What was it before? 141?
It was.
So we got a 3 speed increase to the ship. Okay. The protection is 80,616.
Went up about 3,500.
The health is 96,430.
That's exactly about. That's right at 3,000.
Okay. The potency is at 43%.
2% increase.
And then tenacity is at 58%.
2% increase.
Okay, so every stat kind of across the board increased about, incrementally about 2%. And we got 3 speed increase on the ship. So, not bad. Now, I wonder if, what happens if I change that mod back in? Like, if I put that, take out the 6 dot.
Go ahead, yeah, try it. Yeah, so it doesn't mess up your character there.
No, it's fine. I'm just wondering what, let's filter it by, wow, this is also a cool part of this here. We're going to go into this here in a second. But now we can search all of the square mods that are a speed set. And we'll confirm that. And we have the mod right here. No, sorry, that's not it.
Well, slicing and all that stuff aside, this is the best part of the update for me. This filter screen. That was my favorite part. You can see all the mods you have, equipped or unequipped. Sort. It's basically SWGOH.GG imported right into your game now. No need to, to mod in front of your computer. You just sit on the couch, mod your roster now.
No, we actually lost one speed by changing that mod out. So even though technically Bosk is faster, the ship is actually slower because it's not a 6 dot mod.
Yeah.
So it's only 143 speed now. And I think across the board, it was a little bit less of an increase because of that takeaway. So, yeah, the speed itself doesn't matter. It's the rarity of the mod that matters.
Right.
So, that's something learned. But yeah, I mean, that is probably the coolest part of this entire thing. And the Houndstooth became my strongest ship, by the way, just after doing that. So, the coolest part of this is what we were just discussing is that there's basically now this filter here that allows you to, basically search not only the mods that you have in your inventory, but the mods that are equipped already on the mods that are equipped on characters, but also the mods that are in your inventory, which was not possible in SWGOH.GG. So it adds an even better element and an even better search engine because, I mean, ultimately now you can search the mods that aren't equipped. So that ton of mods that you have that are sitting there, I mean, you can basically take a look now in game without having to go to some other site and be able to take a look at all the different rarities. I mean, it's very specific. So I mean, like, if we want to find the crit damage, for example, the crit damage triangle with the highest crit damage primary, and then the highest speed secondary stat. We can go ahead and take a look here, and this one has 4 speed secondary. This one has 8 speed secondary, 6 speed, and 4 speed. This one hasn't been rolled up yet, but you can see that you can basically pinpoint these mods and find out where specific mods are. You can look for specific mods. I want to go ahead and increase this and see what this rolls. Oh, it's a 4. It's a 4 dot, so it doesn't matter really. And we got 21 offense. That's what we got. And 0 speed increase. But basically, yeah. I mean, ultimately, it's a much more advanced tool, and it's going to help us out a lot more overall. So my Bosk now, with all that increased speed, is at 312 speed. You want a 312 speed Bosk?
Yes, please. Sorry, I was muted. I was sorry.
No, that's cool.
This is interesting to sit here and watch. 'Cause, I mean, this is stuff that you're gonna want to know. And now you don't have to. You don't really have to. Takes the guesswork out of it.
Yeah.
So showing that ship was that was pretty cool. Seeing how it affects it. It doesn't look like much, but 3 speed and ships. You know what I mean? Like if your Tarkin is 1 speed faster than the other Tarkin, that could be the difference between winning and losing just by 1 speed. I mean, even something like the TIE fighter pilot. I mean, you're sure your TIE fighter pilot goes first every match, or your Kylo Ren. Just this is interesting. This is gonna make ships. This is gonna make ships a little more competitive.
Oh,
or
for sure.
or if because the big question is, they have these power modulators in the guild store now, and they are a little pricey. The price point's a little higher than the gear, but if you focus on the mods and not the gear, like basically you have to make a decision: do you want more characters gear 11, gear 12, or do you want the characters you already have at gear 11, gear 12 better? And it's gonna be a tough decision. I don't know if there's really a right or wrong way to do it, but just another decision you have to make in game now. Which, I mean, I'm buying power modulators every store refresh. I'm buying them all. It's probably not the best advice, but I want these mods, man. I want my characters better. Then you're talking like, well, 1 speed, 2 speed. Is it really worth? Yes. If I put 2 speed on my nest and it allows me to go faster than somebody else's nest,
That's a big deal. That's actually a big deal right now in Arena, for sure.
Well, it's nest right now, right? But we've always seen it's just a battle of whose Poe goes first, whose Sith Assassin goes first, whose Biggs goes first. It's always whose such and such goes first at the end of the day. Like, there's lots of counters to all the meta teams, yes, but when you climb your arena, it's usually maybe 1 or 2 different teams all the way up, so it does matter.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's overall, listen, I understand that for some people, you're not going to like it because it's another grind, and this game already is a huge grind, so it's a lot to take in. But I'll tell you that overall, I think like once we're a little bit more settled in, and 6-dot mods are more of a normal thing, and you have a couple of them, and you're not really just chasing somebody in Arena who just made a nice significant purchase and upgraded his team. Then I think everybody will be a lot more comfortable with it overall, and I think it's a very cool addition to the game. Not only because of the additional speed and statistics, but also because of the organizational aspects of it. I mean, I think that now that I can just kind of look at all my mods in-game, basically create sets for each individual character. That's the other thing, is the mod loadouts. So now, for example, let's go to Traya, and we'll just we'll create a loadout for Traya, right? So what that means is we'll so what do I do here? Do I create a loadout from, or create a new loadout?
Well, you could just like let's say you make the fastest set you have of mods, right? And let's say it's on Nest. You can make Nest. You can pretty much snapshot the loadout, and that's your fastest mod. So like, let's say Nest is an arena character, and you have your absolute fastest mods on Nest. But then it's raid day, right? Okay, you guys are doing a Sith raid, so what you can do is you can take that fastest set off Nest and then put it on, say, maybe BB-8 for P1 of the raid, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're done with P1, you can take that loadout off of BB-8 and then maybe put it on Hermit Yoda or some other character, like maybe First Order Officer, whoever you use in P2. You put it on that fast character and you just move it down the line. and just all the way through the raid. So it's helpful in that regard.
So let's do this. So we're going to assign a loadout. We're going to assign Darth Treya's loadout to Darth Nihilus. Actually, you know what? I want to do it with Bosk, because Bosk's speed was insane, right? 144 speed. Let's go to Bosk, and we'll create a loadout here. Okay, so now Bosk's loadout is saved, and we'll go to Darth Nihilus, who we know doesn't have any mods right now, and we will assign Darth Nihilus Bosk's loadout. So for 43k credits, we can move Bosk's mods to Nihilus. So now Nihilus has all those stats. You still get a chance to confirm it afterwards, so you can take a look at what the difference will be, and that's pretty cool. Okay, so it's not like you're automatically making that choice without taking a look at what the increased statistics will be. So now we have a chance to sit here and look and see, okay, by doing this transaction, you're going to get an additional 14k protection. You're going to get an additional 1,000 health. You're going to get an additional, let's see, 145 speed. Sorry, 146 speed, and you're going to be getting an increase of about 6% potency. So I mean, overall, you're going to be you can see what statistics are going to be increasing, and then make that decision right afterwards. So you can see, like, whether this is a good choice or not. So overall, I mean, there's a lot of aspects to this that are making the overall gameplay and the quality of life of the game much better, because not only are the mods more organized, they've made the ability to change mods between characters, because there are a lot of people out there that change mods between characters all the time for raids and various different things. So the ability to do that now without any issues is a pretty cool thing. But yeah, that's just a quick look at the new mod update. I wanted to kind of dive into that and just kind of take a look and see what what that looked like, and also just upgrade some mods so you guys can see what the overall benefit would be of maybe making an investment in some of these components to upgrade the mods. Because I mean, obviously with the increase or the addition now of the weekly shipments, some of you that do spend, or some of you that are thinking about spending, can decide whether that makes sense or not. So we could see that it increased the statistics not only for the character but also for his ship. So you're getting kind of a double bonus there if the character is a ship or has a ship as well. So for Bosk, for example, I mean, his ship will be great, much better, and so will he. So I mean, it's depending on what you're running in Arena and what you're running in Fleet Arena, it possibly could make sense. I personally am contemplating making that $24.99 purchase in the store for the components to upgrade the mod. I think it might help me a little bit, kind of get a little bit of a head start, and then the rest of the stuff I'm going to farm. But that's just something I'm thinking about. I still haven't done it yet, but it's thought in my mind. Are you going to make any of those purchases, Maurice?
Probably not. I'm more inclined to just buy the 1,500 crystal packs in the weekly shipments.
Okay.
Right? I think that's because that's roughly a $20 pack of crystals for 2 of those, and it's a little 3 times. It's not a bad deal if you look at the price of those power modulators in the store, like in the weekly shipments. And then you do get the 3 full pieces of gear. You get, I think it's 4 80 power modulators and a whole bunch of other stuff. It is a good deal. I just don't know how big of an advantage you'd get with 4 sliced 6E mods, right? Like, I don't know if it gives you enough of an advantage to justify the $65 price, but I guess the pack is fair. I haven't really broken it down too much.
So now that you've seen Houndstooth and Aurra Sing in Arena a little bit, just to kind of change directions here a little bit, have you had any issues with Houndstooth in Fleet Arena?
Oh, there's a couple guys using them. It's kind of a pain, but
I've heard a
if you,
lot. I've heard a lot of complaints about having trouble fighting Houndstooth in Fleet Arena.
well, I don't know if you should call it complaining. It's we actually have a usable ship. Like one of these new ships is a meta ship. Like Lando's ship is pretty good, but you got to bring him in last off the bench to really get the most out of him. I guess I haven't used that ship at all. The Sith fighter was not really well received. Just most of the ships we've gotten since the initial release. I mean, is Kylo's ship really meta? Like the old Kylo ship, the command shuttle, is that really a meta ship? I don't really. TIE Reaper, does anybody use TIE Reaper anymore? I mean, not really. So I mean, this is an actual meta ship that we got to add to our arsenal. It's cool. And it's usable at 3 and 4 star on offense. I don't know about leaving it on defense. It's kind of squishy. You can get by it. Like you've got the scimitar, lots of stealth mechanics to get through it. Because if you bring it out under Tarkin, it can be a pain. It's got retribution. Yeah, I think you're waxing. You're whooping butt with it right now.
I think it's a pretty good ship on defense, though. It's not like a bad ship.
No, it's not. Yeah. The 3 and 4 star is a little bit squishy, especially if you have like Gear 12 bugs in there, like one spy.
Oh yeah.
Assist move can wipe it out.
But the good news is, just like all the other ships, I mean, I'm sure this ship will become farmable pretty soon. And when it does, so we should get a full whammy here. When it does, I mean, I think it's an instant meta ship. I mean, I know some people are, already making an investment. People that don't really spend money in this game are spending money to get this ship. Because, I get it. Listen, any opportunity you get to increase your ability to get crystals every day, now, especially since Fleet Arena does give you that crystal prize, it's definitely worth it. If you're going to get if that difference will give you rank 1 every day, because again, you got to bear in mind that it's got to make sense for you. If you're not going to in your arena see a huge difference because of this, then maybe it doesn't make sense for you, because I mean, maybe you don't need it. What I'm saying? Maybe in your arena there is no Houndstooth, and the competition isn't as stiff, and in that particular circumstance, maybe it doesn't make sense to go ahead and invest in a ship for that. But for some people, I've seen some people that don't spend money at all that have made an investment and bought the ship, and I've been surprised to see it. People that normally don't spend a nickel. Yeah, I wasted my buff immunity. Yeah. But I'm not a huge ship fanatic. I do think that this ship, though, really adds a lot of value and can help you in arena. So anything like that, I think is worth at least taking a look at. But we'll get back to doing some arena battles, and we'll also do some more mod talk in a little bit. But right now, I'd like to dive into the meta report and the top 5 for this week, since we've been going on now for a little while. Let's get right into it. Not much has changed as far as the meta report is concerned. We have Emperor Palpatine still dominating the meta, although I'm finding it hard to believe, because in 90% of my shard, it's Darth Treya that's the dominant leader. I think this is just primarily including, the younger shards as well, where they may not be having a ton of players that are heroic Sith ready, so they're still running the Palpatine lead, and the meta is still strong in some of those shards. But in my shard, Treya has already taken over, and you can see that she's obviously surpassed Rey Jedi Training, and even Bastila Shan has now passed Rey Jedi Training and is now the number 4 leader in Arena. And that's really the big change here this week to talk about, is Bastila Shan overtaking Rey Jedi Training and moving up to the number 4 spot here behind Darth Treya. And I could see Darth Treya overtaking CLS here pretty soon as well, on her way up to Emperor Palpatine. What are your thoughts, Maurice?
Well, she's easily obtainable, usable at 3 and 4 star. It makes sense since people are seeing it and now they're deciding to build it as well. Because it always takes somebody has to be the first, right, on the shard, and then people see that it actually is good, and then they follow suit, right? So it, like 1-2 people on a shard gambled on Bastila early, other people see it and have now developed her and maybe put the Zeta on her. It's a great team. It's a very, very good arena team. It's not the best arena team, but it's definitely very, very good, and probably much, much better, especially on earlier shards where not many players have Treya. Like maybe shards that were started in the last 6 months to a year. A lot of those players probably don't have Treya, so Bastila probably is the dominant lead on that server, because she destroys Palpatine.
Right.
Palpatine doesn't stand a chance, so.
Bastila, main problem with the Jedis, and this is really the main issue with, first of all, you can't leave Jedis in overnight on a Treya shard. And Bastila lead really just, the problem is that they can withstand the battle, but the real problem is Darth Nihilus. Anytime you come across, unless you're putting Darth Nihilus in your Jedi team, you need to have somebody who can annihilate Nihilus, because behind a Treya, Nihilus is just unstoppable. Unless you have another Nihilus. You really need another Nihilus to take out Nihilus on a Treya team, because after a couple attacks, if you don't take him out right away somehow, he is going to become so tanky that nothing you do will do any damage to him. He is just gaining so much health. I don't know how they're going to trump that. I don't know what they're going to bring out that's going to be able to take out Nihilus, because to be honest with you, again, he's really the only defeatable by himself. Like, you have to run a Nihilus to beat a Nihilus. You can get it done. Again, if he gains the health over the course of time. So if you were able to somehow take him out in the first couple attacks of the match, I believe then it would be possible. But for the most part, that's not really happening. And if you're running a Jedi team, unless you get lucky and you get like a 20k attack with Grandmaster Yoda on Nihilus at some point early in the battle, it's not going to work out for you. So it's really the Jedi just aren't strong enough to kind of stay up with the Sith right now, and Nihilus is the reason. But that's the top 10 leaders at rank 1. There's really not much other differences here at the back end. Wedge is there, Hera, Kylo Ren on Mass, Vader, Talzin. But the real change here, the real shift in power here is Rey Jedi training continuing to slip to the bottom of the list, and getting much less use now in Arena, with Bastila Shan moving her way up and Darth Treya continuing to climb, looking like she's probably going to overtake CLS here in the coming weeks. I would say by the end of this month, like I said before, we're going to be seeing a Treya and Palpatine dominated meta for sure, for at least the foreseeable future. But going on to now our top 10 squad members at rank 1. Emperor Palpatine's number 1 with Grand Admiral Thrawn at number 2. Darth Vader, which still surprises me, is at number 3. But again, we're talking about a meta where, again, not at the high level, where you see a lot of Treya teams, but where you're seeing a lot of Emperor Palpatine-led teams. Darth Vader does work great in that kind of a shard. So I'm assuming that that's the majority of the Vaders that we're seeing out there, is at the kind of like mid-range or mid-level shards, where you don't have a lot of Treyas. You're seeing a lot of Palpatine, a lot of Vader, and Darth Nihilus is up there obviously with Darth Sion, CLS. Somehow Grand Moff Tarkin is on this list again.
Jumped up a spot.
Grand Moff Tarkin has been, he just will not die. Grand Moff Tarkin, he is dynamite, and I don't know, for some reason there is this Grand Moff Tarkin meta that we are missing, but I would love to find out what it is, and if one of you guys out there is running the Grand Moff Tarkin in Arena, please just go ahead and send us a screenshot of that team at rank 1, because I'd like to know what it is that you're doing. But yeah, Darth Treya is still there at the end, but I mean, obviously she's going to continue to climb up that list, eventually surpassing everybody, because she is the meta. So she's just kind of working her way up, and people are slowly unlocking her, and over time she'll continue to work her way to the top. I'm sure she'll overtake Darth Vader at some point, and possibly Palpatine at the end of the day. But that's our top 10 squad members at rank 1, and that's our meta report for this week. Again, not much has changed. Really more movement in the top 10 leaders at rank 1. We're going to go ahead and dive right into our top 5 this week. And this week we're doing top 5 underrated characters in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. So this is kind of an interesting list. Again, typically, we're talking about the best characters in the game. We're talking about the best Zetas. We're talking about the best abilities. This time we're talking about the characters that you don't necessarily think about as much when you're thinking about number 1 or number 1 arena character, number 1 PvE character. So these are the characters that kind of slide a little bit under the radar. I mean, of course, we all know some of the value of the characters in the game, but I think me and Maurice have put together a pretty good list of characters to kind of take a look at for the future, and also characters that right now can make an impact but aren't necessarily used quite as frequently. So going on to our number 5 underrated character in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Who do we have here, Maurice?
Number 5 is Count Dooku. Once you invest in him and really get him up there, he becomes a real key part to a TW strategy, because he has a Sith tag. And he does have, I guess, an evasion lead if you really want to do that. But he's got the Sith tag. A lot of people are putting him in on TW defense with their Treyas, because what it does is it frees up, you can keep a Palpatine, right? Make a whole another team with Palpatine. You can keep some of the other Sith, maybe like a Darth Maul, and still build kind of a ragtag Darth Maul lead because you have an extra Sith available. He is very good under Treya. He counters, he double taps, and every time you hit a debuffed enemy, it heals your team 10%. He's faster than Nest. He's got lots of little subtle pros in his kit that makes him useful right now. Zeta is kind of I don't think it's really necessary, but it is an option as well. It does give him crit immunity because he is kind of squishy. Just a good, decent character, and again, does have an evasion lead in a pinch. He's got a decent P3 comp. That's kind of like if you go in there and run your Chex Mix team, you go in there and use a Dooku lead with some of your leftover characters and squeeze out maybe an extra million with a little bit of practice. He's got some uses. Not a superstar, but I mean, underrated.
Definitely underrated, and definitely a great defensive character for TW teams like Maurice's Operation Metaverse video does indicate. Count Dooku can be meddlesome, and his Zeta also adds some value as well. Being able to regenerate his protection. Count Dooku used to be one of the more meta characters in the game, but slipped out of the meta when Evasion died. Back when the addition of B2 came in, and you saw a lot less Dooku, a lot less Old Ben, and since then has kind of slipped off the radar. But for a character that can, now, apply shock, character that can stun an enemy, can stun multiple enemies actually, and has the ability to counterattack. Overall, a squishy character, but definitely a character that can add value to you in territory wars. And he's definitely a great addition to a Sith squad when used correctly. So I would say, he's definitely somebody that you want to take a look at, and he's definitely somebody who's not really used very frequently, so he's kind of under the radar at the moment. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
DSP makes a good point, too. I mean, we're talking about him on defense, but he is Sith depth. So you could put him on offense with, he said he's very good under a Zal lead, and that is true. Count Dooku's good under all the Sith leads. So
a very fast character, one of the faster characters in the game, for sure. So, that's our number 5 underrated character in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Moving on to our number 4 underrated characters in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. We have Colonel Stark. So Colonel Stark is an Imperial trooper. Obviously, he's a necessity for dark side territory battles, but he's also a fantastic character to add to a solid Imperial trooper team. I think as more people unlock great characters like Range Trooper and get characters like Colonel Stark, 2 7-stars, I think that you'll see some of these Imperial trooper teams, be more viable, let's say, in territory wars and also possibly in arena someday. There are going to be more troopers that come into this game. I think Range Trooper adds a ton of value to the Imperial Trooper squad, and Colonel Stark has a ton of synergy with the Imperial Troopers. He does decent damage. Obviously, he does an area of effect attack. He's able to really buff the entire squad, which makes the Imperial Troopers constantly stay buffed throughout the entire encounter. What are your thoughts about Colonel Stark?
Well, he's got a really good. He's basically the facilitator of that Imperial Trooper team, right? He's got very high base speed. He gets an additional 20 speed from Veers' lead, and when he gives, and he can you can get him fast enough, he can go first, pop his 2 buffs, and that will give 20% turn meter to the rest of your troopers. So you basically just facilitate. He's like first order officer of the Imperial Troopers. He's got an AOE, decent damage. The Zeta I don't have personally, but I could see it really over the course of a TB or like a raid environment that it really does make a pretty significant difference. Just a very good character. You're required to have him, like you said, so take him all the way up and you won't be disappointed. A very, very good decision to invest in him.
It's a character you can't really go wrong with. Again, like some people are afraid to make an investment in the character because he's not necessarily a face character. He's not necessarily the most popular character in Arena right now, but he does add a ton of value in other areas. And what we're saying here is that he's not necessarily the most used character out there. He's kind of under the radar, and that's why he's on the list here today.
Yeah, very safe investment.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's our number 4 underrated character in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. Our number 3, who do we have here, Maurice?
First Order Stormtrooper. He is a tank for the First Order, obviously, but what he does is he taunts, he cleanses himself, but most importantly on a First Order team, he gives 25%, I believe it is, turn meter when he taunts. So if you get him and old school Kylo on the same team, they're just dumping turn meter all over the place. You pair it with Crew's lead, that's even more turn meter from critting. He's got speed down on his basic. Just a great tank, very, very tanky. Just an underrated tank. We were talking about him or Scareful Pathfinder in this slot, and we both kind of agreed that First Order Stormtrooper is worthy of being here. The Zeta can get some nice assist going on, but it is random. If you get like Kylo Ren on mass to assist, you're like, yeah, but if you get First Order Executioner to assist, that's something special. That's big damage there. So just lots of utility in a First Order team.
He's a necessity for a First Order team.
Yeah.
And he's also, one of the harder characters to attain in the game. He's a character that you have to farm for a long time. He's one of the original, hard node farms in this game. And obviously a character that, you need for a First Order team, but a character that can add value in other squads as well. I mean, ultimately, back in the day when I was running tournaments and I didn't have a tank, I could use him as a tank in a lot of different squads because, he does add value there. He's definitely worth the investment. He's worth the time to farm. He's got a great Zeta, and he is a huge component to adding any synergy to that First Order team, which makes them a viable option in territory wars. Again, this is not a arena meta character because there is only one arena meta team right now out there. But he is a fantastic overall character, adds a lot of great synergy to the First Order squad, and he's definitely worthy of being on this list. But that's our number 3 underrated character in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. Who do we have here at number 2, Maurice?
Number 2 is going to be Jolee. Yes, Jolee. Out of all these new characters, Jolee is by far the one that people are talking about the least. He is a Jedi. And because Bastila was so game changing, and everyone already had fourth Jedi, I guess just Jolie kind of went, under the radar. But in the future, when we can get him, it's going to pair very, very nicely his Zeta with the Hermit Yoda Zeta that reduces Hermit Yoda's cooldowns when somebody dies. So if you can build your Jedi very, very squishy and offense oriented, and when they die, Hermit Yoda will get his cooldowns refreshed, can call all the assists again, and then Jolie can just bring him right back to life, just rinse and repeat all the way through a raid environment or a TB environment. Just a very good character. I believe his basic has a chance to reduce his cooldowns as well. So there's lots of utility there, especially if you can get characters dying. It's kind of like the Night Sister zombie trick with Asajj. Kind of, you just keep bringing it back. Night Sister zombie keeps coming back. Jolie keeps bringing the Jedi back. It's going to be very interesting to see how people utilize him. I like him a lot. He's on my favorites list.
I'm kind of curious how he's going to get utilized in raids, because I think that he's definitely a raid character, and his ability to revive all the Jedi. I mean, you can have literally Jolie Bindo be the last man standing. He can revive the whole team to 80% health.
Yes.
So I mean, that's tremendous. I mean, when you're talking about now having, let's say, Hermit Yoda off the board, you can have Jolie Bindo bring him back, and then Hermit Yoda can then, heal everyone, and now they'll have full health and protection, which basically gives you a full squad all over again. So if you can find a way to protect Jolie and keep him on the board, he could definitely help you last, not only in an arena battle, but also in a raid. And I think that, because right now the Jedi are, somewhat meta with the Bastila teams, he could definitely help you out in a squad there too. But really, I think that his ultimate use and his greatest benefit will be in a raid when we can all get him to 7 stars. I just don't think a lot of people have him there yet, and there hasn't been a lot of testing done with him. So ultimately, there will be a Jolie Bindo raid squad that comes out at some point. And as the Jedi meta eventually returns, as we get, maybe not CLS, well, the next iteration of CLS, the Jedi Luke Skywalker at some point, or maybe a Jedi version of Rey. I think that Jolie will be a nice addition to one of those squads. You can kind of look at him as not only a healer, but somebody that adds a lot of utility, kind of like Yoda does. So he's definitely a great support character, and he's pretty tanky. Doesn't do a ton of damage, but I think that overall the utility that he adds will be tremendous. So I mean, I'm contemplating putting his Zeta on him. I've already gotten him to Gear 11, and I'm definitely excited to get him to 7 stars whenever that's possible.
Mm-hmm. And remember, his assist is targetable, so you could target Grandmaster Yoda and get Grandmaster Yoda more turn meter, get him going quicker, and it heals as well. So if you have an ally that's about to die, you could call them to assist, grant them 30% turn meter, or excuse me, health, and then all the other Jedi gain 15% health as well. So he's got lots of utility. I like the targetable assist on any character. So
for sure. But that's our number 2 underrated character in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Moving on to our number 1 underrated character in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, we have Visas Marr. So, now, I know what you guys are going to say, okay? We know about Visas Marr. Yes, you do, okay? But she's still one of the more underused characters in this game. I don't see her anywhere, and I don't really see a lot of people talking about her. Again, I've made some videos about Visas and how she works well with the Jedi, how she works well with the Sith. I mean, she works well with everybody, and she's ultimately not only a great character for Arena, but she's also a great character for the raids, and that's really what she was made for. She's an anti-Sith. She's a great character, for the Sith raid, and she adds a ton of value to a lot of different squads. She's obviously a really cool character coming from the KOTOR era. And, being that, she was, I believe, one of Revan's apprentices, she's a really interesting character in the lore. I personally love Visa Smar, and I'm looking forward to getting her to 7 stars. I still have her at 6 right now. As you can see, I'm still farming her up. But I can't wait to get her to 7 stars to use her in the raids. And I definitely made some videos already with my test account showing how she can be viable in arena squads. And I'll have to test her out in she was Nihilus' apprentice. You're right. I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, I definitely appreciate the character, and I'm farming her out of the new guild shipments, the new weekly shipments. Have you been getting her shards out of there too, or you already have her at 7 star?
Yeah, I do have her at 7 star. Yeah, I was working on her. We have those 8 hard node drops right now. I happen to be working on her the last time they did it, so I got her pretty quick.
Yeah, so I mean, I've been farming her out of there as well, and I'm just looking forward to getting her done. She's a great overall character, and I think definitely one of the lesser used characters in the game. Somebody who doesn't get enough credit, for sure. What are your thoughts, Maurice?
You pretty much nailed it all. I mean, I don't have much experience with her because I don't have the Zeta. I think the Zeta is required on this character. I mean, obviously to get the most out of her, but just the assisting, just the constant assisting, just all sorts of just very, very good. Just all-around character. What kills her, I guess, is the lack of tags, but she does. I mean, you touched on it. She fits in every squad. You can use her with Sith. You obviously want to use her against Sith. Just great raid utility. Just especially in the Sith raid, she's fantastic. Just a great character. Just a long grind to get her. I guess maybe why she's underutilized.
As is a lot of characters these days.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that she also adds a revive. She can revive a character as well. So it's fantastic. And I mean, that's just not very... there's not a lot of characters that do that in the game. So especially somebody that adds utility against the Sith. And being that we're in the midst of a Sith-dominated meta, a character like this, can prove to be invaluable. So... absolutely, that's our number one underrated character in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. We do have an honorable mention this week, and somebody mentioned it before. I saw it in the chat. Chopper is our honorable mention this week. Why is Chopper an underrated character, Maurice?
Well, I would have put him number 1, but I thought that was kind of Homer-like of me. But just a fantastic character, just lots of utility. Phoenix, Rebel, and Droid, and now we're seeing all these new droids come out. L3, T3, under a 47 lead, he's phenomenal because he assists when other droids attack. And if you mod him for high crit chance, he just goes and goes and goes. Dispel, a taunt, great base speed, one of the fastest characters in the game. You can use him as you can dump a bunch of speed on him and use him as a very quick dispel to get rid of a pre-taunt like a Baze or a Sith Trooper, and that will allow the rest of your team a wide open team to go for. And just I love the character. If you use him with Phoenix, you use him with droids. His basic attack just grants random abilities. There's all sorts of utility across the game. Not much arena use at the moment, but just a great character to have. Get him to gear 9, gear 10, and you've got a nice piece, just a plug and play character.
Absolutely. He has a tremendous amount of value, and he's a great character, especially in a JTR droid team. He can be a fantastic tank on that team. Obviously, he has the Dispel. If he's with Phoenix, he gets called in to assist. He doesn't do a ton of damage, but overall, he has a ton of value, and he's a great tank, a great character in the game. Somebody who I would consider to be up in the same, just under, what you would consider to be an R2-D2 and a BB-8. You know what I mean? So he's not quite as good as those characters.
Straight drop.
But he does have a ton of value.
We're back.
So I think that overall he's definitely worth it. But that's our top 10. I'm sorry, our top 5 underrated characters for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. If you guys like that, please drop a like, smash the like button, then also subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you guys, checking out that. That's courtesy of the Alliance and good old Maurice. We're going to try to bring you another interesting one next week. I believe next week we're going to be doing top 5 dark side unique abilities or unique Zetas. So we'll take a look at that. We may change that up, but we're going to take a look at that possibly for the next one. So going back to some gameplay here, Maurice.
Yes.
What are your thoughts about maybe doing some questions now? Do you have any questions lined up for us?
Yeah, we've got a few here.
Okay. All right, so let's do some cute questions here. If you guys have any questions you'd like asked on the stream, any topics you'd like to discuss specifically, now's the time to type that into the chat. We're going to go ahead and try to cover as much as we can before we end the stream. While we do that, also, if you guys have any requests for, let's say, any squads that you'd like to see me run in Arena, just let me know, and I'll try to put that squad in for you guys as well. We'll try to do a little bit of gameplay here for you guys also.
All right, first question is from Hans Omar von Harold Duerte. Just got his Kylo Ren full abilities, and in PvP battles, whenever he attacked, he's damaged over time. Is that normal? Yes, Kylo Ren, whenever you use a special ability, it grants, he gives himself a damage over time. It's been a while since I've looked at this, but when Kylo Ren is debuffed, he gets bonuses, right? So he's debuffing himself, which is odd, but at the same time, let me see here. Kylo Ren takes reduced damage. Okay, he gains 10 speed for each debuff on him, and both Kylo Rens, they take reduced damage from damage over time, exposes. It's virtually no damage they're actually receiving from that. It's basically he gives himself a dot and he gets 10 speed. It's basically what it's doing. I had to actually look at that one. It's been a while since I've looked at that ability. Yeah, so every time he uses a special, he gives himself a dot, which basically every time he uses a special, he gives himself 10 speed. So, let's see. Okay, Anthony Zingarello. Sorry, man. Notice drop rate in mod salvage seems pretty good when I do my sims. Y'all getting the same? Are you getting good drop rates on your mod salvage from the fleet battles or the mod battles?
Good drop rates on the mod salvage.
Yeah.
Not really fantastic. How about you?
I mean, it's roughly 100% drop rate. I mean, I haven't like tracked it, but you know, if I do 10 sims, I usually get 8 to 15 of the salvage. I mean, I haven't tracked it more than because it just came out 2 days ago. I was just spamming everything, like a little kid at Christmas, just blowing all my energy. So I haven't really been paying attention, but.
I haven't done a ton of it, so I mean I'm not speaking with as good experience as you are. So, but I mean,
I think the battles are 14 energy apiece. So, I mean it is. I mean a full bar of energy gets you 10 sims. So I mean, and it seems to refresh at the same rate maybe as light and dark side energy. So it's a little quicker on the refresh, or so it seems. Let me see here. I can't tell because I've just used some, but yeah, I hope it stays that way. That would be good. Hopefully they don't change anything to do with the drop rates unless it's increasing it. I mean, we'll always take that, right? But
yes, an increase in drop rates is always wanted.
All right, we got another one from.
That's another thing I wanted to discuss is Mobile Gamer made a video about this recently. They just disclosed the actual drop rates for marquee characters and other things.
I saw some post on that. It looked like some screenshots had like some little yellow writing on it, like little bubbles. And
yeah,
I saw that somewhere. Yeah.
So they actually disclosed the drop rates on some of these marquee characters and also on gear. They disclosed everything. So, I mean, you can actually see the drop rates on everything. I thought this was going to eventually happen because, of all the stuff. Because, I mean, there was a, I thought the government was going to make them do it at some point.
Is that what this is? I mean, is this a...
I don't know. I don't know if they were required to or if they just decided to. I mean, I know there was some discussion about games and disclosing their drop rates a long time ago in another game. So if that has something to do with it, then it's probably related, yes, but I don't know for sure. So I just be giving you my
there's a
best
handful
guess.
of countries that these types of games are not allowed. You know,
Right.
they're considered gambling, I guess, of sorts, and which they are. But I mean, you know, I guess they've been outlawed. There was an issue in Hawaii. I mean, I don't know much about the topic, but there was they tried to something to do with legislator in Hawaii, perhaps as well. Um, that's about it. I don't know. It's nice. I mean, at least then you can actually see. We all know, you know, essentially what they are, but it will be nice to see them now, and you can make a more educated decision on where to spend your crystals. So there's nothing negative about that at all. So yeah, I hope to see that soon. That'd be nice.
I believe. Yeah, it's interesting though. I mean, so what next question?
Next question. Hans Omar von Harold Duerte. This update, what do you guys think about some of the mod suggestions for heroes like CLS, Hera, Vader, and Talzin? Well, I mean, the actual stats and what you want to look for in those characters, I mean, hasn't changed, right? Like we saw earlier, you know, Ramon just did the suggested mod loadout for Talzin, and it said offense and potency, which isn't a terrible, you know, setup. You know, just basically whatever you have on them now, and if it's working for you, just, you know, keep working on those mods, upgrade them from white to green to blue to purple to gold. You know, if you are a newer player and you don't have the massive mod depth, you know, just hold off on the 6Es and keep working on your mods. If you're earlier to mid, I guess the definition of early, mid, and late game now has kind of changed with these mods, you know, so I don't know, that's something interesting to think about as well. Just keep working with what you have and just make them better. Just increase what you already have on them. Yeah, I guess. Any suggestions for Hera, Vader, Talzin, or CLS specifically?
It's what's the question again? I'm sorry.
Just it says, all with this update, what do you guys think about the suggestions for heroes like CLS, Hera, Vader, and Talzin?
For mods or for
Yeah.
Well, I think that's characters like Hera. I mean, mod wise, I think that you want to go with. She's not going to be a damage dealer, right? Like she's never going to be like your hard hitting character. I mean, I would say you want to go with speed as always, but I think that speed sets and possibly. I mean, what does she inflict? She inflicts a debuff, right?
Who, Hera?
Yeah.
Expose, yeah.
So, I mean, do you think there'd be a necessity for some potency?
You know, let me look at Hera's kit room. I'm not sure if it's potency based or not. I haven't used her in a while outside of TB. I think it's potency based. It is potency based, yes.
Okay, so
Well, I don't know. It says if the enemy was the healthiest enemy, also expose them for one turn. I would think that's potency based. So yeah.
he's saying that it's not potency based. Her expose is unresistible. So,
Okay.
so for Hera, maybe
No need for potency.
no need for potency. But yeah. So I mean, I think that her main thing then is going to be speed. I would go with speed sets, and then next I would probably go with health. You know, health and speed sets. I mean, that would be my opinion. I mean, she's not again like going to be a huge damage dealer for you as far as CLS is concerned. He is a different story. So again, you know, I would say speed sets, but the secondary option I would say because of the ability to regen his health and his I mean, he if you get the Zeta on him, the tenacity increase is pretty huge. I don't know. I mean, what are your recommendations for CLS?
Just crit damage, crit chance. Maybe you could maybe potency. I guess it depends on where you use him. I mean, if you still use him in arena, if you use him in arena, you probably want to go crit damage, crit chance. But a lot of especially in the tank raid, a lot of people are using them on these full solo teams, and the potency is helpful there. Definitely crit damage. Definitely crit damage with the crit damage triangle, and then the secondary set, probably crit chance or potency, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I would say crit damage is a good set to go with too. But in my opinion, I think that you can never go wrong with CLS and speed. It depends on what you want. I mean, and it depends on what you're using them for. If it's for arena, speed, I would say. But if it's for other areas of the game like PvE, then crit damage is going to be a great way to go as well.
Actually, Dada Jordan just messaged me. Everyone can see the pack probabilities now. If you go into the resources section and just click on the first thing, this 120 crystal pack of the shipbuilding materials. If you open it up, you'll see right in the middle of the screen at the top, it just says green pack probabilities, and you got to leave the game to look at the website, and it shows you. Let me see if I can just link this page in the YouTube chat. Actually, I'll see if that works. Perfect. Aha! Thank you, Dada Jordan. Indeed, this should work. I'll post it here in the YouTube chat. There you go. That's the probabilities of the packs that is now listed from CG and EA for everyone to view.
That's awesome.
So as you can see, the 330 character shard pack that everyone sees these screenshots of and is a 0.1% probability of opening 330 shards out of one of those marquee packs.
It's one in 1,000, right?
Yeah. So, but they posted here for everyone to see.
What I find interesting is not that. It's actually the one that's it's that in between. The probability is even lower. Like the chances of getting 330 shards is actually a higher chance than you have of getting like 200 shards.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right?
I did pull a 145 once. Let's see, that's 0.1% as well. That's interesting. It's interesting stuff. Everybody should have a look at that. Ship Maria, it's got them all on here. The capital ship packs. I don't think it has actual drop rates of the gear. Yeah, just the packs. Every pack you can purchase looks to be in here, so kudos for that. Yeah, thanks, Dada. I didn't even know that was in the game yet, so. Alright. Got off track there, sorry. Back to the questions. We have DSP. I found your question this week, man. He says, I'm gearing Clone Wars Chewie and Vet Han, cause why? Cause why not? I guess that's not really a question, he tricked me. Gearing Clone Wars Chewie, and Vet Han, because why not? Why is the question. But I don't know, I kinda like Vet Han nowadays. Clone War Chewie, I don't know about that. I don't know.
I just don't know.
I don't know about it. Alright, man. Well, let us know how that works. Next week, when Ramon asks for team suggestions, tell us all about it.
Clone Wars Chewie. Yeah, the Clone Wars Chewie is a secret meta.
Yes. Super secret. Get a Zeta on all three of those characters.
Super secret. No, it's so secret that nobody even knows about it.
Yeah. Put a Zeta on all three and just watch them be mediocre. Excuse me. Alright, Captain Obvious. How do you determine which mods to slice if you have a bunch of gray mods? Well, what you can do with the gray mods, and what a lot of people in the chat have been saying all night, you look at your gray mods and you see which ones have the very best stats that you're looking for and the highest. So if you have a bunch of, gray mods, and you have, a couple that have, speed secondary of 4 or 5. You've got maybe flat offense, speed, maybe some health, maybe some potency. That's not a bad mod. Roll it once. I mean, you can. It's pretty cheap to roll the white mods. If you hit speed, then maybe roll it again. If you miss speed, then maybe go on to the next one until you find, 6 mods that will improve a character in your arena team, I guess. Gray mods aren't. I wouldn't focus on them, but if you have them and that's all you have, that's all you have. So you can just kind of increase all those, and some of those might turn out to be winners. They might turn out to be great mods because you got four chances to hit that speed on the gray mods. So when you slice them, so.
Oh, he had to wipe out my Jolie Bindo? Come on, man. No. Everything was going perfect until that. That's disappointing.
Honestly, you're probably better off, unless you just have a few super gray mods that have just the best stats. You're probably better off waiting on some of the other mods. I mean, just like these assault battles give you tons and tons of blue mods. Look at those. I mean, it's going to cost you a lot less energy to get those up to the gold level.
Oh my god! He did 199k damage on my Hermit Yoda at the end. That was nuts.
Yeah, Victivus actually makes a good suggestion. Save the mod energy and just farm new mods. That is probably an option. Yeah, that's probably your best option, actually.
Yeah.
I know it's not what you wanted to hear, but I was trying to kind of sugarcoat and beat around it a little bit, but that's pretty much the answer.
Well, the thing is this, with the new customization of mods now, you have the ability to really kind of play around with mods that before were kind of rendered useless, right? Like, I mean, if you had a mod that rolled 5 speed as the, let's say, the 4th statistic, before, that mod was completely worthless. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was okay. It was like, it was a mod that you would stick on one of your lesser characters because it's 5 speed. Of course, it's not just something you're going to throw away, but when 6-dot mods came out, whenever the new upgrade would come out, those mods were going to be the first that you would kind of dump and throw to the wayside, right? But now, because they've given you an ability to, continue to roll these mods with slicing, some of those mods are going to be, instead of 5 speed mods, they're going to roll to 15 speed or 16 speed or 17 speed. And that's where I think the major value is. I don't think you're going to find the huge value in rolling, let's say, a mod that's already 15 speed to a 20 speed or 22 speed. I think some of the mods that are completely unusable right now by your team, eventually when the mod components are a little bit more available and you're going to be a little bit more open to using them on some of your lesser mods. Of course, at first you're going to use them on your high grade mods, but eventually, when slicing becomes a normal thing, because eventually it will. I mean, eventually we'll be, we'll have enough. Just like Zetas will eventually become a more plentiful thing, like Omegas are now a more plentiful thing. Over time, it'll happen. Whenever that does happen, some of those lower mods will be some of the mods that you want to upgrade because they'll have value now.
All right, we got next one from Hans Omar von Harold Duarte. Okay. Do you see them putting more ships, and whose ships? Let me insert some punctuation here. Could you see them adding more ships to the game, and whose ship would they add? I paraphrase Hans, apologies, but basically, do you see them adding more ships, and which ships could they be potentially bringing in to the game?
I do see them adding more ships, and I think that we're going to see some more. I think we'll see some more bounty hunter ships. I think we'll see some more first order ships eventually. I think that eventually we'll start to see some separatist ships, because eventually I do think we're going to get another capital ship. I don't think that they spent all this time fixing ships, making ships 2.0, revamping the whole ship gaming platform to just kind of leave it stagnant again for the next 2 years. That's kind of initially what happened. They released a bunch of ships. They released the ships update, but they never really had a follow-up plan for the content that would be released afterwards. And or at least I'm not sure what that plan was. You know what I'm saying? But I believe that now that Ships 2.0 is rolled out, since they've allocated some resources to that, I think that we will see a lot more ship content, especially getting into the end of the year here. I think that we're going to see a lot more ships. I think that they'll become farmable. I think we may even get, a ship event at some point, kind of like we had, with the Chimera, where we were able to get a 7-star Chimera. I think that we will eventually get a ship event like that, where maybe you need Empire ships. Who knows? Maybe you need, you're going to need kind of like a legendary. There's going to be another legendary ship event at some point. So be prepared for that. And I think that may come in the form of a separatist capital ship. It may come in the form of First Order ship. Maybe we get the Supremacy and Snoke or something. I mean, who knows? But again, I think that we will get some sort of a legendary ship at some point here soon. Maybe even not a legendary capital ship. Maybe just a regular legendary ship. Maybe we'll get Luke Skywalker's X-Wing, and that'll be a legendary ship. Like the first legendary ship that we have in the game. That'd be kind of cool, right?
Yeah, they haven't done that yet. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely it's just a fresh take on.
I mean, CLS could be the captain of the X-Wing. So
I don't see that being unrealistic, because I mean, Thrawn's a legendary character, and I mean, so is the Executrix. So I mean, that's legendary pilot for a legendary ship. That seems feasible to me for sure.
I think we will. That's my opinion.
Yeah. We had one here. Oh yeah, Jacob Cox, is the Titans team still viable in Arena? I'm curious because CLS is still a strong leader. The Titan team, for those of you that don't remember, was the meta team. I believe it was that CLS, GK, Thrawn, Raid, Han, and R2D2. I believe that was the team. I don't know. I don't know. That's a tough one. I wouldn't think so. Kenobi is not going to be very useful because he'll just get isolated. You don't really have any rebels. Well, I guess you do. But like, a CLS lead will cause Han, R2D2, and CLS to counter, and when you counter against a Traya lead, I guess it depends on where you are. If you have Traya leads on your shard, that's going to hurt you, because when you counter, you lose massive amounts of health. I think it's like 30% health you lose whenever you counter. So you don't want to counter, and then there's a whole lot of buffs on that team, which is going to zap your offense to almost nothing. R2D2 will lead and stealth your team, and when sure you're stealth, but you also have reduced offense. If you don't have Trey on your shard, you probably got a bunch of EPs with Vaders, and those are three rebels that will speed Vader up even faster than he already is. And Kenobi counts as a Jedi as well, so I mean that's an extra speed boost Vader gets. You're better off splitting up your team. You can use CLS. I think the Danger Zone is a better option for the Trail leads if you have those. And that's Biggs, CLS, Han, R2. They're all good characters, but maybe not all together anymore.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Let's see, we had a couple more just trickled in here at the last second.
I was going to say also, Nathaniel Morgan, I agree with you. I think Anakin's ship is definitely coming at some point. I mean, I think that we'll see. I think we'll see some love to Anakin at some point too, and maybe maybe another version of Anakin. In the data files there is a Padawan Anakin in the data files from way back in the day, like when the game first came out. The data mine found a Padawan Anakin in there.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if we'll ever get. I don't know if we'll ever get
Newt
that.
Gunray. It dated my Newt Gunray's capital ship too. I remember that.
Yeah.
I would think so. Question from Zachary Robinson. Which ship raid do you think will come first? Do you think we'll have a ship raid?
Yes. I think that the first ship raid will be the Death Star.
Yes.
And I mean, we haven't gotten the Death Star in any shape or form here, except for Palpatine's throne room in Arena. But I do think that we will eventually get the Death Star as either an entire raid, and then they'll have different portions of it, where they'll have like an air portion of it and then a ground portion of it, or they'll just make an entire ship Death Star raid where from start to finish you're using your ships, and then eventually you have to get to the core of the Death Star and then destroy the core, and then when you get there, you destroy the Death Star at the end if you're able to defeat it. So that would be pretty cool, and I think that that's the way that we'll go. I think that eventually, I remember, okay, and I don't know if I'm allowed to share this or not, but I remember like a long time ago when they first showed me the clips for ships where they were coming out. Like we were in California and they had us in this room, and we were like deep in this like room in EA, at the EA headquarters of Redwood Shores, and they put us in front of the screen, and there were no windows in the room. It was like a room specifically for viewing like upcoming content. Like it was not supposed to be able to be photographed. We weren't allowed to talk about it. It was just a commercial for ships. Now that commercial never actually came out in full. We saw other things that came out later on. I guess they changed it. But it was like when they first were conceptualizing, I guess, ship battles and like how that was going to work in the game. They did actually have a sort of a view of the ships flying over the Death Star, and you could see like all the, what I'm talking about, like when, when Luke is fighting and Vader's chasing him.
Yeah.
Like that scene was in the game. You know what I'm saying? Now I don't know if maybe I'm nuts and I just saw it the wrong way, but I remember specifically seeing them flying over the Death Star in a ship battle. And I mean, maybe that was just an early concept and they scrapped it, or maybe that is possibly a hint at things to come in the future. But I don't think there's any way possible that we don't get some sort of ship Death Star related event at some point, because I mean, how could they not do that? It's the freaking Death Star.
Well, it kind of touches on Han's questions earlier. I think they'll need to kind of spam us some more ships before they. We just don't really have enough ships for a ship raid. Like there wouldn't be much theory crafting because we only have so many ships, right? Like, it couldn't be multiple phases. Because right now we only have 4 fleet commanders. I mean, we definitely would need a couple extra fleet ships to choose from. Like, because right now you'd have to use all 4 of the ones you have by default for 4 phases.
Like I said, I think it would either be a shorter raid than the typical raid that we have right now, or it would be and that would make sense because right, I mean, we have so many raids as it is. Why add another 2-hour raid into the game, right? Like add something that's going to be done faster, right? So maybe something that you don't necessarily need. Maybe a couple of guys, maybe 15 guys can beat the first phase, but if they don't go that route, then another way they could go is, like I said earlier, they could do it in like different components. They could have a ground component, they could have an air component, and then they could go back to doing a ground component and then doing another air component. So they could have like 4 phases where it's air, ground, air, air, maybe ground, and then air again at the end to destroy the Death Star. That's the way they could go about it. And I'd imagine that that's probably the way they would do it. I mean, I don't think I could fathom sitting there and playing ships for an entire raid.
Yeah, I personally just don't enjoy them as much. You know, that would.
It's not that I don't enjoy shit. What I think is that, like I said, it's. I think that more so, I wouldn't be able to sit there for. I don't think a majority of the player base will sit there for, 2 hours and just play only ships. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think that, if they did come up with a ship-based raid, and it was only ships, and there was no ground component to it, then it would be a fast raid. It would be something that happened relatively quickly. I mean, it would probably be something that you could do in a shorter period of time than a typical raid.
Could be, yeah.
But I want to go ahead and wrap it up there.
All right.
I think we're a little bit over, and I appreciate everybody hanging out with us late tonight. It's super awesome that we have such a dedicated crew of guys that hang out with us late at night here and on a Sunday night. I know some of you guys have work tomorrow morning, and you're still sitting here watching with us at 3:30 in the morning. I really appreciate that, and I appreciate everybody hanging out. I'm glad we got a chance to take a look at the recent update with mods, and I'll be doing more of that. I have more videos coming this week, so stay tuned. Also, definitely make sure to check out Maurice's stream with Team Money on the Operation Metaverse channel on Tuesday night at 9 p.m.
Yeah.
And also want to congratulate Maurice and Team Money on becoming the two most recent additions to the Game Changer program as well. So, congrats to Maurice for that. And, he deserves it. He's been making content for this game for a long time now. And he was just recently added. So, he'll be getting a test account as well, or he already has one. So we'll kind of try to integrate that into the live show over the next couple weeks as well, too. So we can try out some different compositions for defense and offense. So we'll have some different things prepared for you guys for requests. So
it'll be much smoother. I think it would be like I could, possibly set a couple things up, and you could just set a couple. It'll go a lot smoother. Get a lot more of your team suggestions hopefully in during the course of the stream. So
sure, absolutely. But it's been fun, guys. We'll be back again next Sunday, and like I said, stay tuned for the content during the week. I have a questions video coming up for all of those that actually came to my Discord and putting questions in the Ask Remon section. I'm going to be making a video about that. That's coming out this week. So if you guys haven't asked a question, you can go over to the Discord. There's a link in the description of this video. You can go over to my Discord and you can ask a question, and I'll try to get it answered in my video. And otherwise, I'll have some other stuff coming up. I have a mod video coming up as well. But I appreciate everybody hanging out. May the force be with you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.